Hello, hello. Let me just make sure that I am streaming everywhere that I am supposed to. Let's see. Let me just see here. And I specialize in toxic relationship recovery. So, welcome to an episode of Toxic Love Transformation. I am so excited for all of you to be able to get some really good learning today because I have a little treat for every single one of you. I am going to be doing some little activities with you. It's been a little while since I've done this, and I love being able to share these activities with you. It's something that we do sometimes with our clients in the inner circle, and it's something that I'd like to share with you for all of you who are starting off 2024 and you're like, you know what? I am ready to go. I would like to make these changes. I would like to, work on some of the things that maybe I've been putting off for a while. This is the opportunity. So hello to everyone, whether this is your first time listening or you've listened many, many times, welcome to the show. So to start off, what I'd like you to do is we're going to do a little activity that's called Two Truths and a Dream. What I need you to do is share two truths about yourself and one dream that you aspire to achieve. So write those down, write down those dreams that you have, and then, the truths that you have, and then the dream that you hope to achieve. And if we have a chance at the end, we're going to go back to that. But I want you to start thinking about what your dreams are. What's the reality? What's the possibility for you? So today we're really going to talk about what it's like and what we can aspire to really create the big changes for ourselves. When I was in my toxic marriage, I could have never in a million years guessed that I would be right here doing this and sharing my story of overcoming unhealthy relationships with other people and doing this for a living. I mean, I never in a million years could have imagined that that was going to be me. So for anyone who's like, I don't know if it's possible. I went through a divorce. I feel broken. I feel ruined. I feel destroyed by everything that I experienced. I understand, but know that it's possible for you to create change. I'm now happily married to my best friend. I have two beautiful children. I moved cross country and I get to do things every day that make me feel good, that makes it so that I'm excited to wake up every day, get out of bed, and I feel like life is an adventure. And when I was in that toxic relationship, I didn't feel that way. And I don't know if that resonates for anyone who might be listening, but it was more like a chore, right? It was more like I have to get through the day. I'm worried about how things are going to turn out. I'm worried I'm going to have to walk on eggshells. And when we do the work and we make the changes for ourselves, we get to reconnect to that child inside of us that's excited about life and it's excited about the possibilities. So hopefully that is something that you are looking to do because we want to make sure that you are reconnecting to yourself. So what I need you to do next is I want you to create two columns on a chart. One column is for traits, interests, and feelings before the toxic relationship. So again, the first column, what were some of your traits? What were some of your interests? And what were some of your feelings before you had this toxic relationship? And I'll give you like 30 seconds, just quickly jot down things that you felt, things that you experienced before you were in the toxic relationship. Some of you might have only experienced toxic relationships. You might have started off as a small child and continued on. So do the best you can coming up with some of the traits beforehand. And then in the next column, I'd like you to look at where you are now. Think about the traits, the interests, and feelings that you have right now. Give yourself like 30 seconds, just write down whatever comes to your mind. All right, now look at those two lists. And again, you might need more time. So if you need to come back to this, feel free. You might want to add to this later. But how do those lists differ? Is one more you and one more not you? Is one more you, but you're hoping to become even more of yourself and step more into your full power? Has that changed from being, going through the divorce to ending the relationship to moving on to the self-discovery? These are all really important things to ask yourself, because when we are in these relationships, we lose our identity. We really focus on trying to make the relationship work, focusing on what the other's needs are, and we put our needs on the back burner because we're so focused on trying to figure out what we're doing wrong, doing research, and trying to figure out what we can do differently to actually make the relationship work. And then if you're going through the divorce, then there's all the stress and overwhelm of going through and breaking things up and trying to get money. And, they're trying to get money and they might be, bad mouthing you and all those kinds of things. So then there's all that. There's just the stress and overwhelm from that we don't get to reconnect to ourselves. And then afterwards, that is really the time that we need to take to really reconnect to our identity. So how can we do this? One of the things that we need to really start doing, if you haven't started doing it yet, is start journaling. Start actually writing down some of your feelings, your inner thoughts and feelings that you are having. If you didn't start this before, today is the day to start doing it. Write it down. I always say for a good journal, that's really to just see what's going on inside, because sometimes we don't even know, right? Sometimes we're like, oh, I know what I'm feeling. But as we start journaling, we might actually come up with stuff that we hadn't realized before. So I want you to set a timer for 5 minutes. Don't do this now, but this can be an activity you do later. Set a timer for 5 minutes and write down every single thing that comes to your mind. Maybe you give yourself a prompt of, did I find joy today? Or how have I changed since my relationship? How can I create something better for my life moving forward? How can I use what I've learned as a stepping stone to create something different? Whatever prompts that you need to be able to get out whatever you're thinking about. And then, of course, I want you to start looking at your values. What are the things that are important to you? Because again, while we were in this relationship, some of our values went out the window. I mean, I had a client that said, she would never stay in a relationship where they cheated. And then the person cheated and she was like, well, it was only one time and he said he was sorry. I'm going to try to stick around. And she stuck around a little while longer and he cheated again. And she said, well, we've been together for so long. We have children together. I'm going to try it again. And of course, he cheated again. So in that sense, her value was not cheating, right? It was being in a monogamous relationship. And she threw that out the window trying to make the relationship work. So she had to reconnect to that value and see the importance of it and realize that it wasn't that her value was wrong. It's that she was with someone who wasn't respectful of her values and didn't care to follow through. So that's one thing to be careful. So guided prompts for journaling, looking at your values and your beliefs, and then affirmations. Look up affirmations if you're not sure where to start. We want to start with affirmations in a positive way. We don't want to start with like, oh, I'm not going to do that again, or, something in a negative where we say not or never or something that's negative. Affirmations always need to be in the positive realm. So like, I am powerful. A beautiful life is possible for me. I am deserving of a wonderful, passionate relationship where I am respected and adored. Those would be affirmations. So write down those affirmations for yourself so that you can keep them handy and use them and repeat them to yourself every single day. And as you start to feel stressed out, you can go back and repeat them. In fact, I always like the little trick of going onto your mirror and writing in lipstick, or if you don't have lipstick, then a marker or whatever, I don't care. But writing in lipstick or marker your affirmations so that you can see them every time you look in the mirror as you get dressed in the morning. So hopefully that was helpful so far. The next one I want to look at is rediscovering your personal needs and desires. So when we are focused on everything else, we tend to lose out on our interests. Again, like I said before, we're focusing on everything else that the person we're in a relationship with needs, what they want, what their desires are. Everything is trying to cater to them in that relationship. one of the biggest things that we do with clients is help them reconnect to who they actually are. So where are you? Like, what is your desires for your career? Like, what do you want for your career? What do you want for your relationships? What do you want for your personal growth? What do you have to do to bring those two things together? So make sure that you're looking at, we don't just want to say things, we want to actually follow through with what we are saying and doing, because that's really, really important. And we want to make sure that the desires that we are saying that we want is shaped by what we actually really want, not us trying to make somebody else happy, but what is it that we actually want? So how do we do this? How do we reconnect to ourselves, reconnect to what we want for our career, personal growth, relationships, all that kind of stuff? Favorite thing to do, I just recommended this today, is guided meditation. Guided meditation, I'm going to just give props to Jason Stevenson. I love him. David actually also does some really amazing guided meditations as well. But using guided meditations to start focusing and listening to your inner voice. You have this innate ability to make good choices for yourself, but you have probably ignored them. We ignored the red flags because we were focusing on somebody else. We want to be able to reconnect to self and reconnect to what our wants and needs are. That also means we want to explore our hobbies. This is such a fun part of the healing process. Write down some potential hobbies and interests that you have. This is the part for me when I was going through my healing that I found Reiki. I was like, oh, I've always wanted to go to a Reiki healing circle. I found one on Meetup. And so I recommend checking that out. I found one on Meetup and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I loved it. I had such a great experience. I met some really wonderful people. And the people I was with were like, oh, I can really feel you. And I was like, wow, that's cool if they can feel my energy. And I've never even, been trained in this. Maybe this is something else I need to try. I tried singing bowls. I went cross country. I did. I drove cross country by myself with my Jeep. I did all these fun things that I'd always wanted to do that I hadn't done before. And it was a beautiful time of self-discovery. So this is your time to really step in to who you are without any other relationship. So I'm going to say, and this probably goes without saying, but I just want to make sure that I'm really clear about it. That also means we don't want you dating anyone during this time. It is a negative thing for us to get it right into another relationship. You're going to hear people tell you like, oh, you got a divorce, you're getting a divorce, whatever. When are you going to start dating? Please let that be one of the furthest things from your mind. We don't want you to get right back into another relationship because you're already hurting and feeling all these different feelings. You're raw. You've got all these different things going on. And if we jump into another relationship to make ourselves feel better, chances are pretty good we're going to end up with the same type of toxic person. And we are going to attract people that are who we were when we felt raw and vulnerable. When we step into our power and we get to know who we really are, then we attract people that will be a better fit for us. And we will know who's a better fit for us as well. And will be easier for us to stand our ground and actually share with that person if we're feeling like it's not the right fit for us. We're not going to settle anymore when we do the right work. So definitely big thing. Do not start getting into another relationship as soon as you get a divorce. It's like a drug addict that wants to go to find their next drug of choice. We don't want to do that. Then you're just covering it up with something else. Okay. So we want you to focus on you, feel all the big feelings, go through the process. And I promise you, if you go through that, you're going to come out on the other side a stronger person, being able to really step into your authentic self. Okay. And then the last thing I really want to do, and this is specifically because, and hopefully this is all helpful for you. So make sure you're writing down any questions that you have, any comments that you have. I will go back after and I will read everything that you have. Remember, you can always put a little pause and come back to this if you need to, if you need more time to answer any of these questions. I'm going through it kind of quickly just because I want to be able to be respectful of your time, but I've also got a lot of different things I want you to focus on. And I think that, some of this you might just want to do on your own when we're not listening, or not listening to me anyway. All right. The next one is setting goals for the future. I literally woke up this morning and I was like, I want to do my training today on setting goals for the future. Because you would be surprised how many people say they want to do things and they don't follow through on it. I actually did a TikTok today that said, stop lying to yourself. And that right there is a really important piece of starting to make those changes you said you're going to want to make. So if you tell yourself, hey, I've done everything I possibly can to heal, but you don't get a coach, you don't look at the problems that you've had, you don't look at where you've repeated the same patterns, you don't do anything different, then guess what? You're going to do the same thing. But what happens is every time we lie to ourselves, we reiterate the fact that we're not being honest with ourselves. And what happens when we're not honest with ourselves is we stop being able to trust our ability to make choice or make choices for ourselves. That was the right word. And then we lose that self-esteem because our brain actually doesn't even trust what we're saying. So we have to make sure that when we say we're going to do something, we follow through with it. And that includes those things that you said you were going to do. I want to lose 10 pounds. Okay, what's your plan to do something different? I want to create healthy relationships. Okay, what is your specific plan to create something different? These are all things that a lot of people talk about, but they don't actually take action on actually doing it. So what do you want to do? Well, my favorite is to create SMART goals. You want to make sure that you are including these SMART goals. So SMART, S-M-A-R-T, the SMART goal framework. And what the first letter is, S, is specific. So you don't say, I want to lose weight in the new year. That's not specific. All right. It's not measurable. So if you want to lose weight, it's, I would like to lose 10 pounds by June 15th, whatever. I would like to create my own business and have the framework done by June 15th. All right. I would like to end this toxic marriage and start my divorce process within the next 30 days. All right. So again, you're noticing it's very, very specific. You want to make sure that it's something that's measurable and it's achievable. Okay. The next one, oh, sorry, I got ahead of myself. The next one is measurable. So that would be the amount of time, the weight, this specifically what you want to do. Achievable. Is it possible for you? So if your thing is like, okay, I want to lose 50 pounds by next week, that's not achievable. You're not going to follow through and be able to do that. Nobody could. If you did, you'd be sick. It's not something that's possible. So you want to make sure it's possible. If you'd like to start the divorce process in the next 30 days, that is something that is definitely achievable. But if you want to be divorced in the next 30 days, if you haven't already started the process, that's not an achievable goal. So you want to make sure that you're picking something that's achievable. Make it be a little bit out of your comfort zone. So it doesn't have to be totally something, you're not going to climb Mount Everest if you haven't been exercising, but maybe your first achievable goal would be walking a mile. Maybe your first achievable goal is getting up and walking around the block for the first time. It really depends on where you're already at so that you know what you can do that's possible for you. Because again, this is something that's really cool that we do with clients is we do wins of the week. So every time we win, we actually we increase our self-esteem. We feel better about ourselves. We believe ourselves more when we follow through on the things we say we're going to do. And so when we have those wins and we start collecting those wins, we start to feel better. And those things naturally will start, the more we do, the more we start acting on those things and following through, the more we trust ourselves. And again, everything starts to move forward. We start to feel better. The next one is relevant. Make sure that it's relevant to what your specific issue is. If you're, I don't know, as an example, if you want to lose 10 pounds by June, then make sure that it's something that is important for you. Do you need to lose 10 pounds? Is it something that you need to do? Be realistic with what you're looking to achieve. And then the last one is time-bound goals. So I gave that answer kind of ahead of time, but give it a number. And here's the good thing with SMART goals. If you notice as you're going through it, so like, let's say you have this thing, I want to lose 10 pounds by June. I mean, that's very, very attainable. I would definitely probably make that a little bit earlier. But for this example, let's just keep it at that. Then as you're going through and you're starting the process, the cool thing about it is we don't have to stay stuck in whatever that goal is. So what we could do is maybe we start off with, hey, I'm going to lose 10 pounds by June 30th. you start the process and you're really eating really well and exercising and doing all the things you promised you were going to do. And of course, I would break that down into smaller goals. If you're going to lose 10 pounds by June 15th, then how many times a week are you going to exercise? What's going to be your nutrition plan for that? How much water are you going to get? All that kind of stuff. You want to start thinking about what those things are. And as you go through it, you might be like, oh, wow, I didn't actually need as much time as I needed. I'm going to fix the time. I'm going to make it March, and I'm going to shift that goal. And how good it feels as you go through it to actually be able to shift and then again, overcome it, not because, and again, keep it in mind what the goal is. So does that mean every single day you're perfect? No, but you keep in mind the big picture of what you're actually looking for. All right. The next thing that I want you to do is I want you to think about how your support network is. This is a big piece of our program. When you are healing, you have to make sure you have a supportive network. And I literally spoke to someone today that said that when she was in her relationship, it just ended and she's trying everything she can to not go back. That's part of the addiction process of these toxic relationships, the trauma bonding, is we tell ourselves that we want to leave and we want it to be over. And then there's that little subconscious feeling that says, no, you should go back. You should go back and try to make them understand again. So there's, depending on where you're at, that trauma bond might still be really strong for you. Wherever you are, you want to make sure that you have a supportive network, because for this person, her friends do not understand what she's going through. They keep saying to her, why are you going back? And I get it. When you haven't experienced an unhealthy relationship, when you haven't been through a toxic marriage and, divorce and breakup, people don't understand what goes on. I mean, there are people who are they feel so unwanted and feel so broken and feel so alone and isolated after this. And the reality is that it hurts. It's painful. We feel like we've lost time and we feel let down by all of it because someone's taking advantage of us. So it's really important to build that supportive network. And again, this is something that we do naturally in our programs, because for me, that was something that was really important, is to have that network. So all of our programs include group coaching and a private group together so that they can talk to each other and support each other, because every single person in that group knows exactly what the other person is going through because they've all been there. And the cool thing is they're all doing everything that they can to create something different for themselves. And that right there is support that will help you actually make those big changes that you're looking for. All right. So on that note, what I'd like you to do is I want you to really write down in the comments some of your insights and takeaways. Write down what are some of your thoughts about doing this. Maybe you're like, hey, I'm going to come back to this later, but write down your takeaways. And then what I'd like you to do is I want you to commit to yourself right now. In fact, write it down right now on a piece of paper. Write down what your commitment is to yourself. And then I want you to share it with the group. What are you committing to yourself? I am committing to making 2024 my best life. I am committing to following through on the things that I'm going to say. I am committing to making myself a priority, to show myself love, to stop putting my needs and wants on the back burner. What are those priorities going to be for you? And again, make it real for you. These are things that are, this is going to be what makes the decision on whether or not you're going to make these big changes. So what is it that you're going to do to follow through? What is your commitment to you? All right, I'm going to take a second. The worksheet, the SMART goals, winning. So glad I took your course. You're such a great coach. Thank you so much. Very painful. You need that group. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Well, we can talk about that in a second. So good to see everybody making excuses. All right. So if you're just getting here, give yourself a second and try to think also about some of the dreams that you have. And I'm going to just kind of, in fact, you know what? Because in the very beginning, what we did was we talked about 2 realities for you and 1 dream that you have. So this is how I want to end this. This is not, I didn't figure this out until just right now as we were talking. What I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes. Everyone do this. close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Breathe out through your mouth. Breathe in all that positive energy in through your nose. Hold it. And breathe out all that negative energy. Those thoughts of you're not good enough, it's not possible, you can't do it, you're too old. All of those negative thoughts. Breathe it out, breathe it out. Take another deep breath in through your nose. Breathing in all that positive energy. Hold it in there. And breathe out anything that no longer serves you. Keep those eyes closed. And I want you to put in your mind's eye the dream that you have for your future, the dream that you have for your life. What is it that you want more than anything? The more that you can picture it in detail, the more you can focus on the possibility. There might be that little part of your brain that says, I can't do it. It's not possible. It's okay. It's just imagine you're dreaming. Maybe you can see that little glimmer of hope. For me, it was like a mustard seed. It was the tiniest little glimmer. But maybe you can just kind of peek into that dream. And really, the more that you can make it real, the brighter that you can make it in your mind. Where is it? Who are you doing this with? What is your life like when you are stepping into this dream? And I want you to snap a picture of that in your eye, in your mind's eye. Now take another deep breath in through your nose. Hold in the possibilities and the potential and the excitement and the adventure of what is possible for you and what you are able to create for you. And breathe out through your mouth all of the things that might be telling you it's not possible. And then open your eyes. Is everything that you've ever been through worth you achieving that dream? Will all of those bad things be worth it if you were able to move past it and create that dream that you have in your mind? I hope that you can start dreaming big. I hope that you can start looking at the possibility of what you can create for yourself. So hopefully that was helpful. I would love to hear some of your thoughts. I'm going to throw out there also while we're here. There was a few people that I saw mention that they were interested in the group. I'm going to give you a heads up that we are 4 days away from closing up the doors to our next 8-week Healing After Divorce program. It starts on January 15th. We have 9 spots available as of right now. We have a bunch of other appointments coming up. So I just want to give you a heads up that that will be closing up very shortly. So once we have our 10 people, there's going to be no more spots available. We're going to be closing up until the next program starts for our 8-week program. So in that 8-week program is the private Facebook group that we're talking about for you to have all of that support that we just talked about, having people that really know and understand, the unlimited coaching, the weekly live streams where we do weekly coachings in the group, and having curriculum for you to really focus on exactly what you need to be able to heal. Because everyone's got a little bit of a different story, but there are some key parts of healing that need to be worked through in order for us to truly heal and create our best lives. So if that is something that you're interested in finding out information, I can comment new me in the comments, and I will send you a link to set up a quick 15-minute call, find out what's going on, see if this program specifically is a good fit for you, and we can earmark you for the beginning of that program that again starts 1/15. So hopefully that was helpful. Again, go back again and listen to this whole thing. I did go through it kind of a little bit quickly, only because, again, I think this is a great opportunity for you to go back and re-listen to it and then take the time that you need to go through every single one of those activities. All right. If there's any other questions, feel free to let me know. You can always tag me. I can come back later, or just send me a private message and I can answer any of the questions that you have. So on that note, thank you as always for hanging out with us. We love spending time with you, and never forget, you are way stronger than you realize. See you next episode. Bye, everybody.